Good day, class. Today will be the second week for our second quarter. So, welcome to Science Time again. This is Ma'am Renz. Before we proceed to our pre-test, just a little reminder. So, usual pattern pa rin tayo in transferring your answers to your ISN. And again, you will going to capture a picture of your ISN and upload it to the album ni Quarter 2, Module 2, Weathering the Typhoon. So let's proceed now to Module 2, Weathering Typhoon. For our most essential learning competency, we're going to trace the path of typhoons that enter the Philippine area of responsibility using a map and a tracking data. So these are the three objectives. First, track the path taken by a tropical cyclone given its coordinates. Number 2, determine whether a tropical cyclone is within or outside the Philippine area of responsibility. 3, illustrate instruments used in tracking tropical cyclones. So all of them will be discussed today. For the pre-test, let me read the question. Number 1. Which of the following is the direction of typhoons in the Philippines? A. Northeast, B. Northwest, C. Southeast, D. Southwest. Number 2. What does PAR stands for? A. Philippines Area of Resources, B. Philippine Area of Responsibility, C. Philippine Area of Responsibility, D. Philippine Arena of Responsibility. 3. Which of the following are studied by meteorologists? A. Ocean, B. Planets, C. Rocks, D. Weather disturbances. 4. What instrument shows how hot or cold something is? A. Anemometer, B. Barometer, C. Hygrometer, or D. Thermometer. 5. What does the anemometer measure? A. Pressure, B. Air temperature, C. Rainfall, or D. Wind speed. Now let's check. Number 1, the correct answer is B. Northwest. Number 2, correct answer is C. Philippine Area of Responsibility. Number 3, D. Weather disturbances. Number 4, D again, thermometer. 5, letter D again, wind speed. Now for the activity looking back, so you just have to complete step 1, 2, and 3. Choices are already given on the box inside. So you're going to read the statement below and form the correct sequence of how a typhoon is created. For the brief introduction, what is a typhoon? So when we say typhoons, these are big whirlwinds in which air travels in a large spiral around the center of extreme low pressure area. So lagi natin naririnig may namumuong low pressure area. Ayan. So magiging bagyo to at papangalanan ganito. Yun. O kaya naman may namumuong low pressure area, mababa ang chance na maging bagyo. Yun yung naririnig natin sa mga weatherman. Pero, lahat ng typhoon ay nagsisimula sa isang low extreme pressure. And then, iikot-ikot sila yung kanilang air in a spiral manner. Tapos, yung kanilang wind speed, kapag lumagpas sila sa pagiging low pressure area, doon na sila tatawaging tropical cyclone or typhoon. So, yung ating official Philippine agency that governs these weather disturbances is the PAG-ASA, which stands for Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, and Astronomical Services Administration. So, nagpo-forecast sila ng ating weather and other climatological conditions that affect the country. What else? PAG-ASA also is dedicated to provide flood and typhoon warnings, public weather forecasts and advisories, meteorological, climatological, and other specialized information and services primarily for the protection of life and property and in support of economic productivity and sustainable development. Di ba madalas nagbibigay sila ng advisory sa atin sa television, and then nagbibigay din sila ng public storm warning signal 1 to 5, and then kung anong flood warning color tayo, may red, orange, yellow. Also, they monitor and track cyclones, typhoons, and other weather disturbances, approaching and forming within the given grids called the Philippine Area of Responsibility. So, yung typhoon, isang uri lang siya ng weather disturbances kasi madami tayong mga weather disturbances. Pwedeng typhoon, pwedeng nagkaroon ng thunderstorm activities, pwedeng nagkaroon ng intertropical convergence zone. Ayan, pwede ding hanging amihan, hanging habagat, o yung tinatawag natin na monsoons. Now, this is the top portion na kuha ng ating typhoon. So, at the center, you see the eye, and then both sides is the eye wall, and then yung outer and inner rain bands na, yun yung nagpapaulan. Pag kinuha natin yung cross-section, meaning yung laman loob niya, yan yung itsura niya. So, we have here, A is the eye, and yung portion na clear, kalmado yan. So, akala natin wala lang yung bagyo kasi hangin-hangin, pero ang totoo, hahagupitin kayo niyan kasi tatama at iikot yung mga rain bands niya sa inyo or sa location nyo. And then, yung B, C, D, sa kabilang side, meron din kasi nga spiral siya. Those are the rain bands. So, as you can see, yan yung nagpapaulan. And then, may mga moments na clear yung sky kasi hangin, and then uulan ulit, and then hahangin. So, dito na create yung cumulonimbus clouds. Cumulonimbus clouds from the clouds of cumulus and nimbus. So, yan, talagang mabubuo siya bilang isang bagyo kasi talaga magpapaulan siya and marami mga or malakas yung hangin na may kasamang pag-ulan, pagkulog, ayan, kasi nga malaki yung nabubuong clouds. The E is the eye wall, the eye, and then the F, both sides yan yung kanyang eye wall. Paano ba nabubuo yung bagyo? First, kailangan ng warm ocean. Kung naka-Fahrenheit siya, kailangan 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Pero kung degrees Celsius siya, enough na yung 26.5 degrees. So, yung energy na pinoprovide niya, sapat para mag-evaporate. Kaya nagiging humid yung air, tapos mainit siya, kaya aakyat. So, winds coming together force air upward kasi nga hot air rises. And then, winds flow outward above the storm, allowing the air below to rise. So, may palitan ng init at lamig na hangin. So, aangat yung mainit, lalabas yung malamig, init, lamig, hanggang sa umikot yan. Humid air rising makes the clouds of the storm. So, dun pala siya nabubuo, yung clouds. And then, 5, light winds outside the hurricane, steer it and let it grow. Hurricane yung tawag sa ibang portion ng mundo. Pero dito sa atin, sa area natin, ang tawag typhoon. But they are both bagyo. Okay? Now, let's talk about under what conditions do tropical cyclones form? First, where did the tropical cyclones form? So the answer is in ocean because it needs water vapor in order to form. Number 2, what can you say about the temperature of the bodies of water in the vicinity of the Philippines? So ang tinutukoy dito is our Pacific Ocean. The temperature should be warm and it must be 26.5 degrees Celsius or greater. So enough na yung temperature na yun para maghakot ng maraming water vapor sa ocean. Number 3, in what direction did tropical cyclones move? Northwest direction. So yun yung laging takbo ng ating tropical cyclone o bagyo. 4, where did tropical cyclones die or weaken? Saan ba sila namamatay? Pag tumatama ang isang cyclone o bagyo sa lupa. So, dun sila nanghihina. Tapos, ang dahilan nun ay wala na kasing nagsusupply ng warm water sa kanila kasi nga nasa lupa sila. So, yung exit lagi ng bagyo madalas sa Batanes, diba? Madami dong mga mountains. So, dun, pag tumama na sila doon, nababasag na sila. Pero kapag nandun sila sa water, makikita nyo sa weather satellite, pag finorcast ng Pag-asa, yung mata ng bagyo, mas lumalaki na lumalaki. Pero once na tumatama na sa lupa, doon na sila mas nanghihina. Tapos sumasabog na yung mga rain bands nila. And then, pag tumama sa lupa ang isang bagyo, doon lang nagbibigay ng public storm warning signal. So, kapag sinabi ni Mang Taning or ng kahit sinong weatherman na yung bagyo na nabuo ay tatama sa lupa, yon, magkakaroon na ng public storm warning signal. Numbers 1, 2, 3, or 4, pwede ring 5, depende sa wind speed niya. And then, ito naman yung ating activity number 1. Itatrack natin si Tropical Yolanda, Tropical Typhoon Yolanda. Ang international name niya ay Haiyan. So, lahat ng bagyo na pumapasok sa ating bansa ay nilalagyan ng sarili nating local name. So, dito sa example ng activity na to, si Yolanda. Pero lahat ng bagyo ay meron kaakibat na international name. So, for Yolanda, it's Haiyan. So, titingnan natin yung time and date kung kailan pumasok at nanatili at nag-exit ang bagyong si Yolanda. So, gamit yung map, meron tayo ditong grid, latitude yung patayo, longitude yung pahiga. And then, sample natin is 8.2 na latitude. So, makikita nyo siya, yung black na dot. And then, i-intersect natin siya sa 134.4 na longitude. So, dyan siya. Ayan. Hindi lang masyadong tumama yung red na ginawa kong dot. Pero, dyan siya sa may part na yan. So, makikita nyo na yung track niya hanggang November 9, 2013. So, more likely, dapat ganyan magiging itsura niya. Ayan. So, nakikita nyo dyan yung Philippine Area of Responsibility, yung light blue na color. So, makikita nyo na nung November 6, 8 p.m., wala pa siya sa PAR, or Philippine Area of Responsibility. Pero, after that, nung nakapasok na siya, ayan, tuloy-tuloy na, no? Hanggang 2 p.m. na November 9. Ayan, lumabas na siya ng 2 p.m. na November 9. 2013. Doon sa dot na color blue. Pero doon sa forecast track na color violet, okay, bago mag 2 p.m., pasok pa siya ng PAR. Okay, pero yung actual track niya, yung talagang lumabas na siya ng 2 p.m. Okay? So, yung forecast track ay iba sa actual track, pero hindi naman halos nagkakalayo. Doon pa rin naman dumaan yung bagyo. So, paano natin nalaman kung in or out yung bagyo? Kasi nga, na-create ang Philippine Area of Responsibility. So, yung susunod na activity natin, mag-dots kayo ng PAR. So, tulad nito, ayan, nakikita nyo sa inyong mga screen. And then, guguhitan nyo siya ng line. So, that is the Philippine Area of Responsibility. Gagamitin nyo yan para mag-plot ng 10 bagyo later sa susunod na activity. So, ayan, activity number 2, dot, plot, and connect. Yan yung Philippine Area of Responsibility. So, tingnan nyo, yung latitude niya 5 degrees north, malapit sa Borneo, and then 115 degrees east. So, tingnan nyo yung pababa na line. Doon siya mag-i-intersect. Yan, sa Borneo. And then, kayo na bahala dun sa B, C, D, E, and F. So, now we're going to use different weather instruments para ma-detect at matrack natin kung nasa na yung bagyo. So, the use of modern instrument and technologies has allowed meteorologists to predict the occurrences and path of typhoons or tropical storms. Isa lang yung ibig sabihin nun, yung bagyo. So, a mixture of computer programs, satellites, images, maps, and weather radar readings help these meteorologists monitor and track the path of weather disturbances. So, 7 yung nasa module nyo, pero actually, madaming mga weather instruments na ginagamit. So, the first one here is the thermometer. So, this measures the air temperature. It's either in degrees Fahrenheit or degrees Celsius. So, most thermometers are closed glass tubes containing liquids such as alcohol, color red yun, or mercury, color silver. When air around the tube hits the liquid expands and move up the tube. So, pag mainit, umaakyat, umaangat. A scale then shows what the actual temperature is. So, ganyan yung itsura ng thermometer. Then next, for the wind speed naman, it's anemometer. So, may cup dun sa tuktok to capture or catch the wind, turning the dial attached to the instrument. So, yung dial na yon, siya yung nagsho-show ng wind speed. So, dito natin malalaman kung ilang kilometers per hour yung wind speed. Yun yung unit na ginagamit for wind speed, kph. And then, barometer naman, it measures the atmospheric pressure, providing the measurement in millibars. So, millibars naman pag atmospheric pressure. At barometer yung instrument na yun. Now, under most conditions, high and rising pressure indicates sunny weather, while low and falling pressure indicates approaching rain. So, depende, no? Pag mataas, yung pressure, sunny. Pero, pag malamig at mababa yung pressure, malamang may uulan. Next, hygrometer. Ito yung itsura niya. It measures the water vapor content of air or the humidity. So, yung water vapor dun sa hangin, ang tawag dun humidity. So, the device used to measure the humidity is hygrometer. It uses human hair from which the oil has been removed by using ether. So, yun yung chemical na ginagamit, yung ether. And then the human hair. Then, the hair becomes longer as the relative humidity of the air increases. So, ganun pala yung gamit niya. This change can be made to move an indicator needle which moves over a scale. The graduations, yun yung guhit-guhit, of which reads from 0% to 100%. So, ganun yung gauge niya. Yan, nakikita nyo doon sa screen. Ito, i-flash ko ulit. Ayan. So, may 0 to 100 degrees yung hygrometer. And then, next naman natin is psychometer. So, ito, gumagamit ng dalawang thermometers, left and right, to measure the relative humidity. One measures the dry bulb temperature, while the other, wet bulb temperature naman. So, the water evaporates from the cloth, causing the temperatures on the thermometer to be lower than the other. So, may mataas, may mababa na scale kayo may kita dun sa both sides ng thermometer. So, that's psychometer, measuring the relative humidity. Next is the Rowan sonde. This is an electric device used for measuring wind velocity, pressure, temperature, and humidity. So, ang daming gamit, no? It is also attached to a balloon. Ayan, nakikita nyo sa right side. And as it rises through the atmosphere, it makes the required measurement. So, magbibigay na siya ng sukat. And last, alam na alam nyo to, is the surveillance radar. So, ito, nasa labas na to ng Earth, no? Weather surveillance radar is one of the long-range type, which detects and tracks typhoons, and also the cloud masses at a distance of 400 kilometers or less. So, mahaba-haba siya. This radar has a rotating antenna or disc preferably mounted on top of a building free from any physical obstruction. So, dun siya naka-locate. Radio energy emitted by the transmitter and focused by the antenna shoots outward through the atmosphere in a narrow beam. The radar is a useful tool in tracking and monitoring cyclones. So, ito pala ay kinakabit sa matataas na lugar, no? Meron din naman kasing mga weather surveillance radar na nilalabas malapit lang sa circumference ng ating Earth atmosphere. Now, for activity rating, sinasabi ko magpa-plot tayo ng typhoon na 10, A to J, and then gamit yung Philippine Area of Responsibility, sasabihin nyo kung in or out yung bagyo. Then you answer the guide questions na dalawa sa baba. And then for activity 4, dodrawin nyo lang illustrations kanina doon sa mga weather instruments. So again, this is thermometer, this is anemometer, then the barometer, hygrometer, psychometer, weather surveillance radar, and Robinson. So yan yung mga different weather instruments. Okay, next. For the next activity on check your understanding, yan, patapos na tayo. So, yung direction dito, sulat nyo lang kung true or false yung statement. Then, for test 2, explain why meteorology should give accurate data and information in tracking typhoon. So, mag-explain lang kayo dyan. Then, do not forget, typhoons are giant whirlwinds in which air moves in a large spiral around a center of extreme low pressure. So, nagsisimula siya sa low pressure. The typhoon season in the Philippines is from June to December. PAR stands for Philippine Area of Responsibility. This is an area in the northwestern Pacific where PAG-ASA or the Philippines National Meteorological Agency monitors weather occurrences. Again, PAG-ASA stands for Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical, Astronomical Services Administration. Then, the direction of typhoons in the Philippines is northwest. Meteorologists use a wide variety of different instruments to measure weather conditions. So, yan yung mga ginagamit ng mga tagapag-asa para matrack nila yung bagyo. Now, let's proceed to post-test. Number 1, in which body of water do Philippine typhoons usually originate? A. Luzon Sea, B. Pacific Ocean, C. Sulu Sea, D. West Philippine Sea. 2. To what direction do typhoons in the Philippines move? A. Northeast, B. Northwest, C. Southeast, D. Southwest. 3. What agency monitors typhoons within and near the Philippine Area of Responsibility? A. DENR, B. PAG-ASA, C. PHIVOX, D. PNRI. 4. Which of the following instruments is not used by meteorologists? A. Anemometer, B. Barometer, C. Hygrometer, or D. Speedometer. 5. What instrument is used to measure that the air is 21 degrees Celsius? A. Anemometer, B. Barometer, C. Hygrometer, or D. Thermometer. So, let's check. Number 1, correct answer is B. Pacific Ocean. Number 2, it's B. Northwest. Number 3, it's B. PAG-ASA. Number 4, it's D. Speedometer. And number 5, it's D. Thermometer. So, I hope you learned something and then you can now answer the reflection. So just write your learnings. What did I learn today? And on the right side, one question I have in mind. Okay, so have a good day and bye.